Happy Thursday into happy Friday, depending on when you are seeing this. And it occurred to me that the last time I did pendulum checking on numbers and graphs of everything going on with the state of the nation was back on the 11th of April. So I could just feel it. It is time to take another status check. So I pulled out my pendulum and started pendulum checking through things. And folks, we are changing timelines. We are changing timelines. What I had pendulum checked earlier is like these solid walls of energy beginning to break, beginning to break. The last time I pendulum checked May, and I mean, this was a week ago. The last time I pendulum checked May, it was like a solid wall of darkness. And I was like, oh boy, here we go. And I started pendulum checking again about 2 days ago, and I'm like, it's breaking up. It's breaking up. Oh my God, it's breaking up. And then not long after that, I saw just a clip on one of Rachel Maddow's reports where she was basically saying the regime, the current regime, is freaked because they know they are losing, they know things are beginning to break, and they know it's not going to work that much longer. And because of that, she is predicting that they are going to pull out the stops and just do some freaky ass stuff. And so we just need to be prepared that when or if we see that, we need to clock it and go, oh, they're desperate. They're desperate. The other thing I am noticing, and I mentioned this in previous videos, people, the protests, they are not dying down. They are collecting momentum. I mean, I just saw a video yesterday of like unions coming out in LA and just filling up the streets. And I saw a headline earlier today that mass protests are not just going on here in the United States, they are going on globally. So this thing's picking up momentum. It is not dying down. I want to get in front of you and say that to you. And I also know, yes, we're beginning to feel that like cracking point, tipping point of kind of like point of no return with this whole tariff thing and the cargo ships being returned empty. And it is a bit scary, but at the same time, I've got some stuff to show you. It's kind of like, remember, anytime things are being taken away in one way or one hand, there's something else being offered in another. And that's what I want to show you. So I'm going to turn the camera around. So I want to show you where we started with this pendulum check. And this is, look at that. That's the April 11th, 2025 State of the Nation pendulum check that I did. And from this, just an initial check, what I picked up on is that the regime head, he is basically required to be a placeholder to transform the collective consciousness. And the question is like, how long are we going to have to deal with this clown? And basically the pendulum came back and said, we've got to hit the 80% mark. And at that point, we were at a collective of 60% globally. And then just a rough sketch, it was going, basically saying it's going to take the summer for this to break. And we really wouldn't see the breakage until the end of June, beginning of July. That was where we were at. So let's scooch on over here to what I did today. And I did a couple of things different. So I set it out again, how much longer is DT required to be a placeholder to transform collective consciousness? How much longer to break the regime? And I want you to notice, I have started pendulum checking both in 3D and 5D. We basically got our feet planted in both worlds. And what I have found is we get different answers depending on which dimensional space that we are pendulum checking in. This is really, really important. So I said, from a 3D perspective, where is the breakage point at? And it basically came back and said, we need to hit 55%. Where are we at right now? My pendulum came back at roughly around 42%. Okay, then 5D, checking 5D, again, it said we need to hit that 80% mark to create breakage, to break it. Where are we at with 5D energies, 5D timelines? We are sitting right now with a collective consciousness at about 72 to 75%. So we're definitely getting closer. Then I basically took my analog calendar out because I pick up on energies and do that so much better with an analog calendar. So I pulled out my analog calendar and started pendulum checking through with questions of, all right, so when does this shifting all happen? Like, what are we looking at? And what we are looking at is from a 3D perspective, we're beginning to see breakage happen somewhere around like May 25th through May 28th, and then it breaking a lot more solidly and not returning to old ways beginning the 10th of June and beyond. And then when I shift that over to 5D, look, it happens earlier. The breakage is at between May the 10th through May the 22nd. Now remember, like I said before this May had been a total solid dark mass of energy with no breakage. And now, as of the last couple days, there's breakage. Like in 3D world, we're beginning to get it at the very end of May, and in 5D world, we're getting that energy breakage through the 10th of May through the 22nd, and then it going a lot more permanently the 1st of June and beyond. So where I had seen like an uphill battle all of May and that we really wouldn't see us coming out of this until later on in June, that's not true anymore. We're actually going to begin to see breakage of the regime in May, and that had not been there previously. It had been a solid dark mass. So we're shifting this. We're shifting this in real time. Could this change more earlier? Hell yeah, it totally can. But this is where we're at today. Oh, and I also probably should say, all of this is conditional to change. This totally can change, but this is where we're at right now. So let me flip the camera around and continue here. So this was the calendar stuff on the 3D to 5D, tracking the percentages that we begin to hit that 55% in 3D at the end of May, beginning of June, and we begin to hit that 80% mark. Later in energetically 5D, later energetically later on in May, and definitely at the top of June. So this is bumped up. These are bumped up potentials. Then I pendulum checked. I said, okay, all right. Well, there's like you can feel it. You can feel that as the breakage happens, like as you know, the tariff thing is happening, and the cargo ships, and the regime is pushing. You can feel the old world breakage of the system that we've been living in. You can feel that. You can feel that happening. You can feel that sense of like, oh, we are moving through a point of no return, and it's rather daunting. It's a little scary. It's like, oh boy, it's got an energy in it of like, oh boy, here we go. And so I want to give the flip side of that. Like that's the Pluto removing in one area, and I wanted to know, okay, when does the new energy really come in and seed more? You know where it landed? June 22nd. Like more towards the end of June, like we move through this breakage, and then that new energy really begins to land in the 22nd. So I want all of you to keep in mind that as we see things become more precarious, and as we see certain breakage happen, and as we see the monster, the regime do its weird stuff, I want you to be very aware that you have options. You have options of being able to talk with your spirit team and say, spirit team, tell me what my options are and help me plug into the new energy. And you have options of being able to talk with yourself and spirit team and the cosmos about, hey, there's chaos going on. And when chaos gets kicked up and it's going on, there's new things that come through. So as I'm manifesting my next steps, like if something falls away over here, help me manifest my steps into that new energy. Give me my new option. Show me my new way. Ask the universe, the cosmos, your spirit team that in the kerfluffle of stuff, you get plugged in to the new energy. You get plugged in to your new options. Do not go into fight, flight, freeze, fawn mode, like clock your triggers, know what's going on with your triggers. Feel your feels, move through those, and make sure you are talking with your team. You're in your body. You're thinking about manifesting. You're going, this is not Germany, 1932. No, this is the United States. We're doing new timelines, new energies. We're a totally huge country. Everybody is beginning to move in lockstep against this, and we are creating something new. I want you to be thinking about that, okay? And as you're thinking about that, let me show you these dates that are open to changes. Let's take a look at this. What I just showed you, new energy comes in June 22nd, 2025. That means with all the crazy changes going on and what we might see go down, you have access to new energy to manifest in a new way, materialize in a new way, talk with your spirit team, get online in a new way. That's what this is right here, okay? And then guess what? I asked spirit team, I asked the calendar, cosmos, I said, okay, if new energy is coming in here, when does timeline jumping begin again? Because right now, timeline jumping is flat. I mean, have you looked at my last few forecasts? The last 3 weeks, just flat, flat, flat. No timeline jumps. It's timeline arcs. We're bleeding through. And the forecast I've got coming up that I'm going to release like sometime this weekend, no timeline jumps or timeline arcs at all next week. Like right now it is flat. It's so flat. But that does not mean we don't have access to 5D. We surely do. We're in what Spirit Team said about we're not going to feel like we're moving forward. We're not going to feel like we're doing too much, but we are. We're getting prepared to make this new leap with new energy as this old stuff breaks away. Let me show you a few more things. Okay, so new energy comes in 22nd of June. We begin timeline jumping again on, clock that, July 7th. July 7th, people, which is like awfully close to Independence Day, and I looked at that and I was like, I wonder if we're creating a new Independence Day that is truly for we the people. You know, we the people. I mean, that's very interesting. And guess what? We're doing this whole Pluto return, Neptune return to rewrite things. Rewrite starts now, folks. Rewrite starts now. And I just find that date of July 7th of the new timeline jumping to be soothing. Okay, and then from there, when does the next new solid timeline come in? That stays the same. This is out of everything that I have clocked here, the only thing that has stayed stable is the new timeline is coming in August the 1st. That has not changed. And when we hit this, you better be ready to jump because there's going to be a lot of movement from August 1st all the way through into January of 2026. So folks, this is what I've got for you now, and this gives me great hope. Is it crazy scary right now? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. It is crazy scary right now. But you know what else? It's kind of freaking exciting too, because remember, on the one hand, where old things are going away, turn around and look 180 degrees. There is some new stuff coming in, and that new stuff coming in is our ability to connect with these new energies and transform and manifest in completely new ways that we have never been able to do before. Do you think Spirit World is going to leave us high and dry in the middle of this mess? Hell no. No, they wouldn't do that. They would not do that in a million years. So this is me just kind of saying, pull up your britches. We've got this. My Midwestern grandmother, pull up your britches. We've got this. We can do this. Little bit scary. Yeah, the monster's kind of raging. We're dancing with Shadow World, figuring out who we are, figuring out who they are. Yeah, this is all part of it, but we are gonna get through this. We've got this. We can do this. So that's what I've got for you headed into the weekend. Forecast is coming up soon. The astrology is not too crazy, so I'm not too concerned about that. But we just need to be aware of being boots on the ground, continue the resistance any way we know how to contribute that is right for us. Keep putting that one foot in front of the other to meet those freaking miracles along the way. All right. Mwah. I will see you in the next video.